Hey, Christy.
Yeah, Edith.
I put an electric fence around my garden. My neighbor is dead against it.
Well, how come? Oh, because I'm dead against it. I get it. Electric fence. Dead against it. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm Christy.
And I'm Edith. We're backyard gardeners from Colorado.
And neighbors.
And friends.
And we love sharing our gardens with you.
We're not experts. We just learned a lot about gardening from the mistakes we made along the way.
So welcome to Upside Down Tulips, the summer episode.
A fun podcast that celebrates gardening gone wrong.
It's summertime.
Let us turn up the beat.
Upside Down Tulips.
Hello, gardeners.
And wannabe gardeners.
And people who love potpourri.
And people who love good, bad jokes.
Oh, yeah. Right, I know. And people who love summer. Because this is our summer episode.
Yes, it is. Remember, we're just doing this seasonally now.
Because we're so busy and popular.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Popularity? It's all about popularity.
I think so.
What are we doing today, though, Christy?
Well,
what are
it's
we
kind
doing?
of our potpourri summer episode. We're talking a lot about our gardens and things we've learned in our garden.
I've learned a lot of stuff this summer, actually.
And how things are going. And it is kind of an interesting day to be recording this podcast.
Why?
Because it is 102 degrees in the Denver metro area.
Oh, yeah,
today.
that is interesting. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it is interesting.
It has just been very hot, which is tough on the garden.
Oh, yeah. I came in. I went to look at your garden. I noticed you have shade cloth over some of the stuff.
I did. You know, actually, I took my frost cloth that I usually use in the fall, but I looked it up and people say, you know, if you could just create some shade, even if it's a frost cloth, that can work. But you notice how I didn't tie it all in. It's supposed to get airflow.
Right.
I don't want to keep the heat in. I want to just give it some shade.
This is amazing, Christy. We're actually giving good tips in our hellos.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Already. Look at that.
It.
I know. And then you come into my house and it looks like it's a cave. It's all dark. I got all the curtains drawn.
My house too, you know.
Because I don't have air conditioning.
I don't have air conditioning except in my bedroom now in the window. And that's a good thing. But no, the rest of the house. In fact, as I was saying when I came in, I want to see how hot it's going to get. So I don't have anything. It was 84 when I left my house.
Oh my gosh.
In the living room.
And this is just an afternoon on a Saturday.
This is just an afternoon on a Saturday.
See, I think upstairs right now, when it was 78, and then coming down here in our beautiful basement recording studio, it's a little cooler. But so I wonder, you have to let me know how hot it gets in there.
I will.
But make sure you stay hydrated.
I want to thank our listeners.
Then by all means do.
Thank you, listeners.
I do too, though, because that's the reason why we keep doing this, you know, once a season now, is because people are so generous and so kind, and they want to still hear us tell our bad jokes and giggle about our gardens. And
Can I tell you a listener story that actually happened to me?
What?
So I'm out in the front of my garden, and this woman walks up the street walking her white dog, who looks at my white cat. And I said, "Oh my gosh, look. Your white dog is looking at my white cat." And she said, "Are you Edith?" I said, "What?" "Upside Down Tulips?" She said, "Are you Edith from Upside Down Tulips?" I go, "Yes."
That's so awesome.
I felt like a celebrity.
You are.
Thank you, Lauren. That was her name with her beautiful white dog. Isn't that cool?
That is. Oh, Lauren, who's one of our members of the garden party.
Yes.
People who throw us a couple bucks each month so we can pay for the hosting expenses of doing the podcast.
And make us feel so important while
nice.
I'm out weeding my front yard.
That's right, because Lauren lives kind of in this neighborhood.
She does. She lives, right down there.
Well, did I tell you? Do you remember the story I told you about when I was getting my living room painted?
No.
And I was telling our painter if he could be quiet and not do any work upstairs while we were going to be recording the podcast. He goes, "Oh, you have a podcast? What's it about?" "It's about gardening." "Oh, what's it called?" I said, "It's called Upside Down Tulips." And he goes, "You're Christy."
That's so cool.
It's very weird.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because we don't really know when we're just down here talking about our gardens. It's kind of hard to know about the reach, but there's a beautiful reach.
That's
It's
really
a nice
sweet.
community. Well, as you've always said, Edith, gardeners really are the nicest people.
I agree that. Gardeners and people that go to the library. And most gardeners do go to the library.
Yes,
right?
that's very true. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter about politics. It doesn't matter about religion. It doesn't
Yep.
matter about all these other things that can divide us in the country today.
Yeah.
We all have one great love.
Yeah. And I think every gardener is a nurturer as well. I don't know of a single gardener that hoards all the stuff that they grow. They share.
Yes.
Because it's that feeling of being a community and creating a community as you go. So anyway, that's enough schmaltz for today.
Oh, that's it? I
it.
could put some more in.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it's okay. I think we're done.
No,
We're
okay.
done
All
now.
right. So, yes, sorry. I forgot you do have a schmaltz limit.
It's pretty low.
It's a pretty low schmaltz limit.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, this is also just a reminder, friends, as we are going along, that we still have our huge back catalog. This is our 120th episode of Upside Down Tulips. And so, as if there's things that you're still interested in, you want to dive deeper into, what to do about if your tomatoes are having problems, or what to do about Japanese beetles, you can dig into the full back catalog.
Yeah, we have a lot of good information and fun times, just fun.
So, here it is. It's July. It's hot out.
Yeah.
How's your garden hanging in there?
Oh boy, do you know that? Here, I take notes, ever since we started this podcast like 3 years ago now, I've been taking garden notes. And so when 2022, my first Morning Glory came out around July 4th.
Ooh.
This year, it was like June 20th. It was almost 3 weeks early. You know how they say your corn should be knee high by the 4th of July? Mine was up to my hip.
Wow.
I mean, and we are now considered not District 6. What's it? Zone 6 district.
Right. I know. That's during the Hunger Games, right? Yeah.
Yeah. This year, I have more potted in pots, flowers and stuff. And
really?
Those things, you have to water twice a day at least.
Yes.
I didn't realize that. So, it's going pretty well, actually. Christy, I kind of have a story, a little tiny story about your handsome and handy husband.
Oh, well, he loves that.
Well, you were in Creed, directing a show.
Yes, I was in Creed, Colorado.
Yeah.
Year-round population, 400 people, yet it has a beautiful summer round, nationally recognized theater company.
Unbelievable.
But I should also say I was there in May,
Mhm.
which is the whole month of May, which is kind of the worst time to be away from your garden, don't you think?
It's tough. In fact, I said, so you're watching the garden, right? How's it going when you're watching Christy's garden? And he says, well, I'm applying water. And I go, you're applying what? Do you mean you're watering? That's how gardeners would say it. I mean, this would be like me saying, excuse me, I'm going into the kitchen to apply heat for dinner. He's applying water.
Or like applying for a job.
Yeah,
right?
applying for a job. Like he said, I thought that was really humorous. How was your garden when you got back? It was fine, right?
It was fine.
Yeah.
And mostly because I hadn't planted that many vegetables yet.
Yeah.
So I didn't get my tomatoes in the ground and peppers until early June.
We should never forget the horror of last year when on June 29th we had a hailstorm and we had to start over.
Yes.
And we were fine.
We were fine.
We were just fine.
It wasn't like a bountiful harvest,
Mhm.
but there was a really nice harvest.
There was. Yeah.
And it meant we didn't have to spend that much time
Mhm.
having to deal with all the harvest, because that can be burdensome
Mhm.
sometimes too.
Yes, it can. So, so my garden, let me see. Do you know today I harvested my first cucumber.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
are you kidding me?
No.
My cucumbers haven't even flowered yet.
Wow. Well, I put mine in pretty early. I harvested, yesterday was my first zucchini.
And where'd you get that zucchini plant from?
I cannot tell a lie. I got one from you that I killed.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
When were you going to tell me this?
I was never.
You were never
and then
going to. You thought I would never
should
ask?
not
You thought
have-
I would never
I
ask
should not have
you
brought
how
it.
that zucchini
I was
plant
hoping you'd forget, but you forget nothing. You forget nothing.
Oh my God.
Well, here's what happened.
Okay.
So you gave me this because mine wouldn't come up. Well, finally mine came up.
Okay.
Christy, put the seed in after you gave me the plant, which was what, like 3-4 inches high?
Yeah.
Well, the one I planted in my garden with the seed was about 5 times as big. I had to make a cruel choice. I'm sorry.
Oh, so it didn't just die.
No, I killed it. I said that. I said I killed it.
I
murdered it
You
on
murdered
purpose.
on
I
purpose.
did. Yes, I did.
Wow, like a Game of Thrones thing. You
Yes.
came in and
Hey.
went do 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 do.
That's exactly right. I hummed it, and I am not having too many zucchini again.
But what about the generosity of the gardener, Edith?
Oh
who
my
would, like,
gosh.
give away.
You know
their
what? You know what? If
zucchinis?
it wouldn't take up half my garden, I might have left it and have 2, but they get too big. I just
Well,
have a small backyard.
Then here's me. So I planted 2 zucchini plants.
Uh-oh. Do you not have one?
They're both alive.
Okay, good.
Oh my gosh, you would have been in big trouble.
I would have been in big trouble.
'Cause
I
you
know.
could have scooped.
I
You could have
panicked.
scooped that up, and yes,
I panicked.
didn't even ask.
I didn't even ask.
But I have to, and I have to check. You know what? I have to look out there. I did see a flower, but I haven't checked in a couple days. So it's either
They grow fast, you know.
It could be 3 feet
Mhm.
big out there right now.
I had a wonderful harvest of radishes when it was not so hot.
Mm.
I've had 4 beets that I harvested.
Wow.
And I want to talk about these new peas that I grew that were so wonderful because they didn't need to be staked.
Okay, now this is a little awkward for me right now.
Why?
Because
I'm not talking about pea urine. I'm talking about peas.
I know. Oh my god. No, because my handsome and handy husband will be upset because that's his favorite thing in the garden to grow. And I haven't grown them in a long time. And he often asks, like, well, are you going to plant any peas? I'm like, well, I think it's a little too hot right now, honey, to plant peas.
What have I told you about planting peas?
In
You can do them on St. Patrick's Day.
I know, but then my garden just wasn't ready for it.
Okay, next year I want you to plant, it's called the pea shelling petite Iona. Iona. And they sprawl.
Oh, so you don't need, okay.
You don't need to stake that. You can, I also have Amish snap peas that go. I have so many peas that I grow. I'm just going to make your husband.
And you can't do a fall planting of those, can you?
No,
Not
it's
really.
too
No,
hot.
it's just
too hot.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I really recommend. They were absolutely fantastic. And the thing about it is, you can pull them out. They're done when other things are just coming into their own.
Right.
So you can double plant.
Right, and then you can use the spot for something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Can I ask you this about these peas?
Yes.
Can you eat the shells? Or
Yes.
Are,
Yes. you
Oh,
can.
okay. So you don't have to shell the peas.
Yeah. I didn't know that you could eat the shells until my granddaughter loves peas. We go out, we pick them. And one day I was taking, what is it called? The string. Pulling the string, opening the pod for her. And then I noticed there were no pods because she was eating the whole thing.
Oh my
Shell
gosh.
and everything.
So you eat the shell and everything?
She does.
Oh, but what about you?
Not so much.
Okay. So you do have to.
You don't,
Okay.
it doesn't seem to hurt her.
But like a sugar snap pea, you don't have to shell.
Right.
Okay.
These, I think, because it's called shelling petite Iona. The word shelling is right in it.
Very good.
Pay attention.
Have you been watching The Bear at all on Hulu?
Yes.
Okay, did you see those scenes when Carmi is like shelling peas after peas after peas and getting these like perfect peas?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
That looks like a lot of work.
Yeah, that made me that's why you should just eat the whole damn thing, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
So anyway, that kind of brings me up to what I have harvested from the garden. You tell me about yours.
Oh, well, because my garden got in a little late, but I just think things are fine. Things look so great. I have 6 tomato plants that are all doing beautiful. 5 of them all have tomatoes on them. In fact, my cherry tomato is turning. I have red ones out there that I haven't harvested yet.
You're kidding.
I have an early.
What kind of are they?
It's interesting, Edith, because when I went to buy tomato plants at the end of May, all the Super 100s were gone. I couldn't find them anywhere.
Oh.
So I got a different kind of cherry tomato, And so it doesn't feel like it's growing as tall. It feels like it's a more of a wider cherry tomato plant.
Interesting.
And then of course I have an early girl. I have a super fantastic. I have a celebrity, and but they all an aroma. They all have tomatoes on them. They're all flowering really nice. However, at 102 degrees, flowers can fall off your tomato plants, folks. So try to give them some shade if you can.
Yeah.
Tomatoes are kind of picky. They like between like 55 and they're like us, 55 and 75 degrees. And so they may not. So this, I don't know. I might have a big break in between when I get more tomatoes. And then I have a Granny Cantrell that I got from our friend Melanie down the street, and it has flowers, but it doesn't have any tomatoes yet. I also have 8 pepper plants.
Wow.
One of the things I'm kind of excited about is I got 3 different kinds of jalapenos. One is a regular jalapeno. The other is like a big jalapeno. So instead of like the normal 2 to 3 inches of jalapeno, this is like a 6-inch jalapeno. The third one I got says, it's like an oopsie daisy jalapeno. It's not hot.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
and I don't mind a little spice, but I thought that could be interesting.
Yeah, let's see. It's interesting. I grow sometimes stuff just for the interest.
Just for fun.
Just to see what it's like.
Yeah, just for fun. I also have cucumbers, which you'll go out there and you'll really see I need to thin them out. I sowed them real heavy. And I think I need to thin them out. I want you to come look at them.
The cucumbers.
Yeah, but maybe when it's not 102 degrees out. I have cauliflower, I have carrots, I have radishes, I have beans, I have eggplant, which is blooming. And friends, if you've never seen an eggplant plant bloom, it is so pretty. It has the most beautiful purple flowers on it.
And they love the heat.
Oh, good. Good.
They do. They love the heat.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I like planting them just because I just think the plant is so pretty. I like eggplant too.
Yeah.
And of course, I have lots of pumpkins that I plant again in my compost pile. And they're looking just fantastic. I wanted to give everybody an update on my peace rose. So if you remember this, in the construction project I had, that one of the workers cut my peace rose down to the ground. And then we had like temperatures in below 0. It was really bad. And then I thought it was dead. But then it started coming back. And I thought, well, I bet it's just the junk rose that they will, sometimes they'll take a hybrid rose and they'll graft it onto a junk rose.
Yeah.
Well, it came back as a beautiful peace rose, everyone. I had so many blooms on it. And then I deadheaded it and I cut the blooms off. And guess what?
You got more.
I have more buds coming.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's fantastic.
So that's pretty exciting. And I've had beautiful flowers come and go. My Jupiter's beard, yarrow, and May night salvia all kind of came and went. So now what's blooming is lavender and daisies and echinacea, veronica, calendula, and the earliest I've ever done is zinnias. I have zinnias in bloom.
It's my turn to be jealous. I got no zinnias this year. None.
Oh.
Last year they reseeded themselves from the year before. This year, not even one.
Oh.
And I went to the trouble. I collected seeds. Maybe I did it wrong. None.
I don't know.
None.
Yeah, I've had some over, volunteer. What I did was I winter sowed them, which, folks, is an outdoor method of seed sowing that you can traditionally start in January, but I also do spring and summer in milk jugs. I did them before I left. I planted them in milk jugs before I left for Creed, Colorado in the early May. And when I came back, they were all germinated. And now my first ones are blooming. So.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that next year with the zinnias.
Well, I think what I learned is that I used to like, well, that's a June thing. You sow zinnias in June, and I sowed these in May. So I think I'm
in the jugs, right?
In the jugs. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. And then just to kind of wrap up, I'll say I also have for herbs. I have planted dill and basil that are all up and doing great. And I got a new rosemary because if you friends remember, after all of Edith's rosemaries died, and I finally killed a rosemary. So I got a new rosemary and I planted it in a different spot.
Oh,
So-
I got a new one too this year. Yeah.
How's it doing?
Good.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. I think I told everybody that I was very excited about, this new bed I was going to plant out front. Haven't planted a single thing in it, except for the hens and chicks, your hens and chicks from last year. I told everybody I was excited to plant my loofah gourd.
You have a loofah gourd?
I didn't plant it.
Okay.
I had the seeds. I didn't plant it. That's
okay.
right. And I think it's a good reminder that I think that's the beauty. If you buy even if you buy like cheap seeds, though these are good seeds. These are botanical interest seeds, so I know they will last another year. Just so heavy, I guess, don't you think? If you add extra seeds.
So heavy. Mm-hmm. And also, I sometimes sow seeds that are 10 years old, and they're still fine.
Wow.
I mean, the viability percentage goes down, but
sure,
I don't want to throw seeds away, so I just sow heavy.
You just don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So heavy.
Yes. Close.
So heavy.
End scene.
Okay, friends, if there are words or terms that you don't understand, you can always check out the funny and informative Upside Down Dictionary at upsidedowntulips.com, or you can click on the link in our show notes.
We also have fun stuff. Fun stuff on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest.
And now, here comes a brand new pop play.
Dun, 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 dun. It's a bright and beautiful day as mild-tempered and gentle little Christy goes out into her garden. Peaceful and sweet-smelling, it's her happy place. Soon, the deep purple grapes, bright red tomatoes, and blushing pink roses will add their color to the green all around her. Yes, there will be a metamorphosis in the garden. And as she gently holds her hose and waters, she is kept company by the birds.
Hello.
The bees.
Hi.
The ladybugs.
Welcome.
And the Japanese beetles.
What?
Filling a small bucket with soapy water, gentle Christy, knowing no mercy, savagely plops the beetles in.
Think you can destroy my grapevine, huh? There. Gotcha, you son of a...
Then, with a deep and happy sigh, Christy takes her hose over to the beautiful broccoli, accompanied by hummingbirds, dragonflies, and...
aphids? All over my broccoli? My kale? My cauliflower? You...
Christy rushes into the house and returns with a rag, and using it and the hose, viciously scrubs away the aphids and all their little eggs.
You crucifer-eating, cauliflower-devouring son of a... Gotcha! Good riddance!
Wiping her aphid-smudged fingers...
Yuck!
And shaking a few beetles out of her hair...
Ew, yuck, yuck.
She then moves to the tomatoes. But where once stood a tall, healthy plant, now sits a shredded green stump.
A tomato hornworm! No!
Storming into the tool shed, Christy emerges with an axe.
You asked for it! Take that! And that!
Bits of green, gooey hornworm guts squirt and slosh everywhere.
Ah! Oh no! Oops! Oh, yucky! Oh, Jesus! Yuck! Small price to pay for victory.
You see, it's not just the garden that goes through a metamorphosis. It is also the gardener. The battle today has been won, but the war wages on all summer and into the fall. And that is why you will see mild-mannered gardeners everywhere turn into... agrarian warriors of the backyard. But don't worry. Come the winter, you'll see them curled up on the couch, cuddled with a seed catalog and a cat. Rest well, agrarian warrior. Until the spring, we're depending on you.
I love that pod play, Edith, because I feel like an agrarian warrior.
Oh, you
right
are?
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I talk to people, especially when it comes to Japanese beetles, and it's amazing how everybody takes great joy in swooping Japanese beetles
Yeah.
into a soapy bucket of water.
I know.
You do. You feel like you're a giant.
Some people go overboard. I know somebody who puts them in a jar, freezes them, and then when they stop moving, she rattles them to death. I mean, yuck.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's somebody with a vengeance problem.
Yeah, that might be a psychopathic gardener.
That might be a psychopath. Yeah, I hope she does not listen to this particular podcast.
Sorry.
We'll see.
And then she grinds them up to make her bread. No. Okay, we were talking about summer potpourri.
And
right?
you were talking about the herbs that you grew. I grew last year. I bought a loveage seedling. Do you know what loveage is?
Well, if I'm correct about this, it's kind of like they call it the love parsley, right? It's a type of parsley.
It's like a cross between celery and parsley.
Okay, gotcha.
The best thing you could say for it, it has a hole in the middle of the stalk, so you could use it as a straw.
Oh.
But I don't know why I think I bought it because there's a play called Lettuce and Loveage.
Yes, it's on my shelf right over here.
Well, Leslie O'Carroll and I have always talked about wanting to do that together. And I think when I saw a loveage at the nursery, I bought it. Here's what I didn't know about it. So I bought it last year, planted it. This year, I go out there and in June, and it's like 2.5 feet high.
Wow.
I mean, it's huge.
And you bought it as a plant?
And I bought it as a little
gotcha.
seedling. Mm-hmm. And then I went over to a friend's house, and we were in his backyard, and I said, these huge bushes. And I said, oh, that's interesting. That looks like my loveage. He goes, that is loveage. He goes, I can't get rid of it. The roots, he said, are so deep. I've been trying to get rid of it for 10 years, and I can't.
Uh-oh.
Christy, it was 3 feet wide at least, not kidding. And it was taller than me.
And if it's where you like it and it serves a purpose and you can harvest it, then that's great. But if you're trying to get rid of it,
it was in my tiny little herb garden. So I murdered it the next day. Oh. It was taken over.
Again with the murder.
I know. Then, do you know what? This isn't an herb, I guess. Do you ever hear of something called orach?
No.
ORACH.
Is it purple?
It can be different colors. It can be purple.
Okay.
It can be green. It can be yellowish.
Like is it like a spinach?
Yes. This is why you have a podcast. You know things. I never even heard of it. It's also known as mountain spinach.
Okay.
So
it can be really, but people grow it ornamentally, right? Or do they just?
It's pretty. Maybe they do.
Oh.
Another way you can grow it. It gets very tall. You can grow it. We were talking earlier about shading in the heat. Mm-hmm. You can make a hedgerow out of it. If you plant it in a row, like where the sun is going to be beaming down, and I planted 2 of them. One is, well, it doesn't matter. It's only 2, and I took them and planted them before I even looked up what it was, because that's
what color are yours?
They're green.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
They're green. Anyway, it handles heat really, really well, and
that's good.
It has its flavor, retains its flavor even after it bolts, which
spinach does not.
Which spinach does not, and lettuce does not. You can harvest it all summer long, and I'm excited about it. And I'm going to see how it is, and then I'm going to collect seeds if I like it.
Nice.
And anything that grows up tall like that and not wide is a real space saver.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got that planted right next to my Malagar spinach, which also likes the heat. So I have greens going,
Still.
Yes.
Have you tasted it yet?
No.
Okay.
No, it's still like only like 6 inches high.
Okay, gotcha.
If you let it go to seed, it will come back next year, but it will come back with a vengeance. So
sort of like your 4 seasons lettuce?
Like my lettuce, yes.
By the way, can I just say, your lettuce was amazing.
Isn't it?
It was thank you so much for bringing some over. It was beautiful.
Isn't it?
It was so multicolored.
I try to tell people about this miracle lettuce. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's called Marvel, not Miracle, but I think it's like a miracle. It's the best.
It's marvelous.
It's marvelous. It coats my backyard, and then the heat comes and it's gone and other things grow. Back to the orage. 1 serving of orage contains 200% of your daily calcium intake.
200%.
200%. It's a really, really healthy
Which
thing.
even when I take a multivitamin,
Mhm.
and I think it has in there that it's like 12% of my calcium intake.
Mhm. This is 200%.
Wow.
1. Also anti-inflammatory, high levels of zinc and C. So it's really a good thing to grow. And if it ever grows really big, I will bring you some, okay?
Oh, nice. Yes.
I'll bring you some and we can try it. It can grow up to 10 feet, but it usually only...
a 10 foot, no,
10.
it's called mountain spinach.
It is. But usually it says it grows only 4 to 6 feet, which would be perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect. What else? My 2 new things. I have plums on my new plum tree.
Oh, Edith, that's so great.
Yes.
If folks remember, you tried several years to your beautiful. How long did you have that plum tree before? You had it for a decade, right?
Well, I've had 2 plum trees, and that have died. So I just keep trying.
And these are not ones that you have murdered.
No,
They're ones you tried to save.
I did try desperately to save them.
You even had the Colorado Extension Service come out,
yes,
and look at your plum tree.
Yes,
and they said there's.
They said
it was a fungus, right?
Oh my gosh, that reminds me. Okay, this is so interesting. I was so shocked by this. So my peach tree has a peach borer in it. That's serious.
And that's a bug, right?
That's a bug that gets in there. And
borer is
it's in there, and what comes out of the hole it makes looks like peach jam. Soft, oozing peach jam, which is how I knew something was wrong with the tree. So I called last year. Remember last year? It had it last year, and I called my tree guy, and he said, I'm going to put this will kill it. Remember?
Yeah.
And he says, but you can't eat the peaches. Well, we didn't get them anyway because of the hailstorm, but one year I would not have had peaches no matter what. This year, I see it's oozing again. It didn't work. I call him back. And I said, he goes, I'll do that again. And I said, does that mean that I won't have peaches? He
injected like medicine on
yes, in the ground
sort
all
of like
around.
It was about like 4 feet around the tree.
That's exactly what he did.
Like where the canopy ended up being.
Yes, where the canopy ends. And I thought to myself, why am I going to spend a couple $100 and not have peaches again? So I said, you know what? Don't do it. Because I'll start another peach tree. But right now, it's full of peaches. And I went...
Oh, yay!
Full. And
yay!
I went to South... I know.
So I'm excited because I know you're going to give me some.
I know. You know I will. So I went to Southwest Nursery with Carrie, and I was telling him about my peach tree. And he said, Edith, you know what you do? Take some Windex. And he goes, anywhere you see that ooze coming out, spray it. And I did. And every single one of the ooze turned hard as a rock. All the peaches came. So if the peach tree makes it another year, it's because of a $3 bottle of Windex.
Well, first of all, shout out to Carrie at Southwest Gardens. And folks, if you live in the Denver metro area and you've not been to Southwest Gardeners, they have been a longtime supporter of upside down tulips.
On Harlan and like 43rd, 42nd.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially if you're looking for succulents.
Yeah, he's a master at them.
That's why he's called Southwest, even
That's
though
right.
we're not in the Southwest.
He's also, it's also a family-run business. It's a very small, and he knows his stuff. And he could just have saved me a tree and a couple $100.
Do you think the Windex, I'm just speculating here, it's ammonia? Do you think it's the ammonia in the Windex?
It could be. I have no idea. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Christy, the tree looks so healthy.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I've been thinning the peaches off of it for a month. It looks so good.
Wow. Well, I'm thrilled for you because I know how much you love that tree, and I know that I will be the beneficiary of maybe a couple extra peaches.
Yes, you will.
That's awesome. That's good.
So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's new. Do you have anything else?
Well, I was going to also share some things about my geraniums.
Okay. Yeah, you're
So-
the flower person. I always forget about flowers.
And yet you have flowers.
I do now. I do. Mhm.
Why don't we go to a pod? Let's do another pod play.
Okay,
Is that
let's.
okay? And
All
then we'll come
right.
back and we'll talk more about our gardens, our,
Okay.
our summer potpourri.
That's a good idea.
Or some
Okay.
people like to say, potpourri.
A potpourri. Okay, let's do it. Summer. I love Colorado in July. It's just like a sober Pete Davidson, hot and dry. Are you ready, little buddy? We've been cooped up inside for too long. You deserve some fresh air and sunshine. It's time for our walk. Let's make sure we have water and some of your favorite treats. And of course, always good to do some stretches. Oh, nice job, little buddy. We just need to put on your leash and off we go. La 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 la.
There goes that kooky Edith.
Just ignore them and enjoy our walk.
Hey, weirdo!
Sticks and stones! Sticks and stones!
Junior, stop staring at that strange lady.
I can't take it any longer. Come on, let's stop off at Christy's. She won't make fun of me. Christy, hello.
Just a second, Edith. Be right there. Oh, my God. Hello? This is not what I was expecting.
Not you, too. All I am doing is taking my pothos out for a walk in celebration of July 27th.
July 27th.
Yeah. July 27th is National Take Your Houseplant for a Walk Day. Can't a person take their houseplant out for a walk without getting judged anymore? Taking your houseplant for a walk is a fun and unique way to stay active, get some fresh air and sunlight, and gives you the opportunity to spend quality time with your beloved plant.
I don't think anyone is judging you for taking a walk with your houseplant, Edith. It might be more about what you are wearing.
What in the name of Pete Davidson are you talking about? I am not wearing anything.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was trying to make.
Oh. Well, I forgot all about World Naked Gardening Day on the first Saturday in May, so I thought, why not kill two birds with one stone?
Amazing logic. Now, how about we walk you and your pothos safely back home with this ficus tree?
Take your houseplant for a walk day. For the love and health of your houseplants, take them outside for a walk in the warm sunshine. They will thank you for it.
And can you hold this philodendron?
Okay.
And the Dieffenbachia? And the spider plant?
Christy.
Can you hold on this big jade plant too?
I can't see.
Did you know, Edith, that National Take Your Houseplant for a Walk Day is a real thing?
I was afraid it was because that's just who you are. But I want people to know I never was naked. I just want people to know I would never do that.
Right. And interestingly, though, I was naked.
You were? Oh, no, you weren't. I can't believe I fell for that. Okay.
No, I think you were there. Though it feels like, with the heat and all, if I could wear any less clothes, I would.
Yeah, I get you.
Then still be legal. Hey, Edith.
Yes.
Did you know about the meaning of the word potpourri? Do you know where it comes from?
No.
Well,
It's probably French.
Huh?
Is it
Yes,
French?
the lusty French.
The lusty
Of course.
French, uh-huh.
The word has two common meanings in use today. One of which, of course, refers to a mixture of flowers, herbs, and spices that's kept in a jar and used as a scent, have things smell good. The other, somewhat more figurative, refers to a miscellaneous collection or medley.
Mm-hmm.
However, the earliest use of potpourri in English was to describe neither of these, but rather a kind of stew. It was borrowed directly from the French, potpourri, and that the literal translation of the words is putrid pot. So So somehow it went from putrid pot
Wow.
to a nice medley of collection of information or a jar of dried flowers and herbs. I used to use potpourri all the time.
Did you?
Yeah, but then I found out that it's not good feng shui because dead flowers don't have energy and they suck energy from your house. So I stopped using it.
Oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, my phone is dinging.
That was a good place for it to ding, though. We had just finished a little beat.
That's right. We were saying, time's up. Stop talking about potpourri and please move on to geraniums. You grow geraniums, don't you, Edith?
I do. I do indeed.
I like to have geraniums on my back patio. I just always do. I don't know why. I've just always
Because they're
liked
pretty.
them.
They're pretty, and you can keep them over the winter.
Yes, that's what I
did
do.
that. I kept mine over the winter. Mm-hmm.
And,
Only one
and
died.
geraniums can be expensive. So, and I always like to get the salmon colored ones. They're called Rocky Mountain salmon.
Uh-huh.
And usually I've kept geraniums alive for like 10 years or so. One year, instead of putting them up in my attic, I put them up in my garage and forgot about them, and they all died.
Oh.
But the last couple of years I've been putting
10
them.
years. That's amazing.
Yeah. One thing I did this year that was different than other years that have made a real difference is that when I took them out in May to get used to being outside, I trimmed them the way the heck back. I took about 3/4.
Wait, you mean you let them grow as big as they wanted all through the winter?
Kinda, yeah.
Huh, okay.
I mean, they just they're up in my attic. It gets a little light up there, and I trimmed them. I'll tell you this, I did trim them before I put them up in my attic.
Okay, and then...
But then they just kind of grew, and they were kind of sad, but then I just really hacked them back.
That's good to know.
I took about 3/4 of that plant off, and then I put them underneath a patio table, and I just left them under there for the whole month of May that I was gone. And then at some point, my handsome and handy husband took them out.
Applied water. You applied water.
Applied water. And they are blooming.
I looked at. They're beautiful. They're amazing.
Each pot has like 15 huge blooms on them.
It's like a waterfall of geraniums out there.
It does look like
it's
a waterfall
beautiful.
of geraniums.
I was going to congratulate you about that.
Yeah. So, and I gave them a little shade this morning when that morning sun was just baking them.
Yeah.
But I'm just so thrilled. And it's a good reminder also for folks when you think about things you should be doing this time of year in July, is I do have to go out and give them, I have to deadhead them.
Yeah.
Because if I don't deadhead them, it means that it's going to stop producing flowers.
Right.
And if you haven't deadheaded before, it has nothing to do with the Grateful Dead. I don't even know which word came first, deadheaders or deadheading. Was it the flower first, or then they started calling the band that? But I think
it's just dead, which is a really old word.
and
practice.
And you're removing the head of the flower.
Deadhead.
Deadheading is just about is when the flower is faded or fading, is to get down to the bottom of the stem and just pinching it off. Sometimes you can use your fingers. Sometimes you can use a little.
You go to the bottom
nippers.
of the stem, all the way down to the bottom of the stem,
Yeah.
or I just go under the flower.
Yes. Now it depends on the flower, but I'll go down to where it meets the next set of leaves.
Oh, next set of leaves. Okay,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
bottom of the stem.
Oh,
next
I see what
set
you're
of
saying.
leaves.
Right, yeah, next set of leaves.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, and nip it off. And I have I noticed that when I was up there today about those geraniums that some of them are starting to fade, and I thought, I have so many flowers that it would benefit me right now to just the ones that have faded and are, halfway faded, that I'm going to start nipping all those off. I also did it with my Jupiter's beard. Usually I should have them all done by now, but I actually had, my husband go out and just with the hedge trimmers, just like shave them in half.
Wow.
And one can get a second flush of flowers from Jupiter's beard. Also from May night salvia, if you have that plant, to get a second flush of flowers, or really, any other kind of annual. Most annuals, it's always good to get out there in July and to do some deadheading.
I think I should insert something about it's almost time to prune tomatoes. If your tomatoes are so thick with leaves that there's no air getting through, you can cut some stuff back. And the other thing, what is this called when there's two stems like go into a V?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
and one is bad.
If
there's one in the middle.
if there's something growing in the middle,
Yeah.
pinch it out.
Pinch it out.
That's really important. Just pinch that. Look all over and pinch that out.
You taught me that, Edith. You also taught me that, and I've done some. And maybe when it's not so hot, you can come and check my tomatoes and see if I've done it enough. But also to trim back the leaves on the bottom of a tomato plant.
Yeah, I have yet to do that. I'm going to do that as soon as it's not 100.
And maybe like a good 6 to 8 inches. You would recommend, Edith, to trim off all the leaves.
Well, yeah, I think so. Maybe not 8. I mean, depends on how big the
sure.
plant is as well. But also, so you don't have a little roadway for bugs and stuff coming up there.
You want to block the roadway for bugs.
Mm-hmm.
It also, if there's a heavy rain, will prevent any if there's any fungus in the soil,
right,
from bouncing up and getting on, which can cause I can't even say it, Edith. That wilt.
Let's just call it a potpourri,
Potpourri,
or a putrid pope pot, putrid pope.
Pot. But I feel like that kind of happens to some of my tomato plants. Is that I'll start getting yellow leaves on the bottom, and then I just pinch them off
Good.
continually. If you see anything yellow, and get it off the plant.
To be honest, I completely forgot about that. I'm glad you reminded me.
Oh,
completely forgot about that. I'm going to do that soon.
It's hard. It's hard for me though to do that pinching, and also hard for me to do thinning. It's just hard for me. Maybe it's easier for you because of your love of murdering plants. But it's hard. It's hard for me to do that. But I did go through. Speaking of like thinning and pruning, I sowed my basil incredibly thick, and so I went in there and was just plucking out the little basil plants, little tiny micro basil. But I chopped that up and I put it in dinner last week, and it was amazing.
Well, I'm not doing so good with my basil. But now I have to say something to you. I wasn't going to bring it up, but a couple of years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I grew 2 little peach trees for you.
Oh.
I named them. You named them.
I named them.
You named them my kids' names.
I did.
Chris and Gretchen.
I did.
And then you killed them.
Not intentional. I think that is the difference.
Neglect?
It was an accident.
Was it?
Oh,
was it though?
There are no witnesses.
Okay,
and I would like
so
to see
true.
I'd like to see your facts.
That's so true. I just thought, sometimes you have to be hard-hearted to be a gardener.
I know, that was sad. And I remember that those peaches grew out of your compost pile.
Yeah, they grew they're all over my yard. I have 2 growing right now.
I think my mistake was
what?
And this was because this was 8 years ago. I was an inexperienced gardener. I'm not as, every year we learn more, right?
Wow,
every time we
yeah.
garden. And I put those in pots. And I put them in a clay pot.
Oh, yeah.
A putrid clay pot.
Yeah.
And as you have just said, how often do you need to water pots?
That's
in
it.
the summer?
That is it. You're right. Like a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you feel good that you got that at your chest? Now?
I do. I mean, I was holding
It was
it. Don't
sad.
say
I
anything.
know.
I kept saying to myself, "Don't say anything. Let her at me. Don't say anything." Then I'm like, "Okay."
First Gretchen died.
Oh, don't even. Oh, no.
And then it was Chris.
Oh my God.
So sorry.
No.
This is why, you know what? If there's one lesson people can take away from today,
Yeah.
it's not a good idea to name plants after people.
Okay, that's a good
Because I
idea.
had that at work too. I brought some houseplants in to where I work, and I named them after my coworkers, thinking this is super fun.
Oh.
But then, they get like, so what's wrong with the plant that's named after me? Like, why is it not doing so great? And there's a lot of pressure. So you should not name any of your plants after people that you know.
That's a good idea. Name them after your enemies and then kill them.
Sure.
I am hard-hearted, aren't I?
Right, I know. Oh, is that it? Is that we're all done talking about the topic for the day? We can't.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to save waffle gardens for next time.
We're not going to. Waffles.
We're going to have to save it for our next seasonal meeting.
Well, I think that people got a lot of good summer tips.
I hope so.
A potpourri of putrid pots.
I'm pretty sure they did. So what do we need to do now? Is it mailbag time? What is it?
Oh, we've got a letter coming up. It's a really good one.
Okie dokie.
And now, Edith,
Yes.
would you kindly guess what time it is?
Is it mailbag time?
It is.
Ring, ring.
Okay. So, friends, we've got a great letter today from our beloved friend, Paula, who is also a devoted member of the garden party. And she lives down in Florence, Colorado, and has a wonderful garden. And she's written to us about everybody's weed they love to hate, bindweed. Now, we did a big episode on bindweed a couple of years ago. I think it's episode 54.
Yeah.
Battling bindweed in your yard. And so if you're not familiar with bindweed, this is a non-native, deep-rooted, long-lived perennial vine/weed with an extensive, deep, fibrous root system and reproduces and spreads seeds and roots. It is very incredibly difficult to get rid of. Its roots can go down to 25 feet.
Oh, wow.
And it looks a little bit like a little baby morning glory.
It does. And some people think it's pretty if they don't realize it's a bad weed because it has little white or pink flowers.
Yes.
But you don't want that.
You don't want it. Approximately 25% of the seeds will germinate immediately, while the remainder of the seeds can remain viable for 60 years or more.
Wow.
And once you have it in your yard, it's incredibly difficult to get rid of. It takes nutrients and moisture from other plants. It contains alkaloids that are mildly toxic to certain kinds of livestock. Its twining growth inhibits the harvest of crops and can cause great difficulties in your garden. So it's hard to get rid of. You can cut it, you can pull it, it'll come back.
Yeah, cutting it doesn't do anything but give it a new fresh energy or something.
You can suffocate it with cardboard and mulch, and it'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
You can try horticultural vinegar, but that's kind of dangerous. You could try boiling water, also kind of hard. You could torch it. My neighbor next door had somebody with a propane torch and torch all the bindweed.
And did that work?
It came back.
Oh my gosh.
So
well, it would, wouldn't it? If the roots are that deep, it would come back.
Yeah, 25 feet.
Yeah.
Like what can go all the way down that far? And of course, one thing you could do, which we recommend not to do, is to use Roundup.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. However, there is something out there in the state of Colorado, and it's also in other states as well. If you contact your Department of Agriculture or your county extension office, which has a thing called Request a Bug.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a mite that you can buy.
Mite, M-I-T-E.
That might work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mite that might work. And Paula has done it, and she's telling us all about it.
Okay. You're looking at me. You're pointing at me. Okay.
Now,
Dear Christy and Edith, I wanted to let you know about a bit of garden happening that you inspired. I first learned what to call bindweed from upside down tulips, but was plenty familiar with the evil weed from my own battles with it. So last year, when Christy talked about getting bindweed mites, I was quick to follow her lead. I filled out the form and waited. Finally, after several seasons, I got an email that mites were available. The only problem was I was out of town for work. I called my partner at home, and while he was slightly horrified at the idea of mites, he was also game to help. I ordered my mites, and they arrived the next day. He placed the mite-covered weeds among some of our most aggressive patches, and that was it.
And can I just add in that's what there's a whole big patch in southern Colorado of bindweed where these mites are being propagated, and what they give you in the mail is bindweed covered in these invisible mites.
Wow. Back to Paula. By the time I returned a week later, I could already see the difference. It's been about a month now, and the area where the bindweed was worst is much clearer, and I often see browning on some of the more distant weeds. I know it won't eliminate all of it, but it's already made weeding a much easier and more satisfying job. From my patch of dirt to yours, happy gardening, Paula.
That is amazing, Paula. I'm so thrilled for you.
Yeah.
That is very exciting. It did not, I'll say, I did not have as much success as Paula's having.
You did not.
I did not. And this is why. Because one of the things they said was when you put it out, try to put it out when there's not going to be a heavy rain.
Yeah.
Well, the day after I put it out
Oh, no.
was a huge rainstorm.
Okay. Wow.
And also, I think this is nice. Like if you have a big patch of it, I think this is perfect for it.
Yeah, I do too. Like for your neighbor, instead of torching it, this would have been the way to go.
Yes, this totally would have been the way to go. Because I have now that I've got the upper hand on the bindweed, I have a little bit here, a little bit there, and I'm constantly pulling it. And I have it under control. But
I do too, actually, from decades of pulling the stupid thing. You know what I really like about her letter, though? She says, "For my patch of dirt," instead of soil, which is such an uppity word. She says, "From my patch of dirt to yours." Nice, Paula. Nice.
It's that a little. I like soil also, but I also like moist, and I also like moist soil. Shout out to moist. Shout out to soil.
Oh my God,
friends! If you have a question, you want to tell us about what's going on in your garden, you want to tell us how you're tackling bindweed, will you please write to us at upsidedowntulips@gmail.com or at upsidedowntulips.com.
The earth is lulled, softly awaiting some inspiration from our gardening gentle friend Christy. What you got for us today?
This comes from author Doug Green, which is a good last name if you're talking about gardening. I am more myself in a garden than anywhere else on earth. Doug Green.
I feel the same way, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah. We are Edith Weiss and Christy Montour-Larson.
We appreciate you guys in the garden party.
Thanks everybody in the garden party, and thank you to Denise Gentilini for composing and performing the Upside Down Tulips theme song.
She has a website with more music on it, and the website is denisegentilini.com, or find the link at upsidedowntulips.com.
And thank you to our excellent yet enigmatic engineer.
Hey, join us in October, because we will talk about harvest gardening, and we will talk about everything that happens in the next 3 months.
Don't forget, Edith.
What?
If you make a mistake,
your garden will forgive you.
Upside down tulips.
Hey, Edith.
Hey, Christy.
It's so hot.
How hot is it?
It's so hot, cows are giving evaporated milk. It's so hot, I bought a loaf of bread, and by the time I got home, it was toast.
Okay.
It's so hot, I saw a squirrel collecting nuts with oven mitts on.
Oh.
It's so hot, my iceberg lettuce melted.
Oh, no.
It's so hot, you can wash and dry your clothes at the same time.
I don't know why that makes no sense, but yet it's funny. No sense.